So cows were eating local before eating local really was a thing. And that's because most of what our cows eat are grains and forages that we grow right here on our own farm. So the majority of their diet is extremely local. Then we have a portion of their diet which is made up of purchased items. So once we have all our on-farm feed harvested and we take feed samples and go to balanced rations, there will inevitably be gaps, things that are missing, nutrients that are missing, that we need to supplement. And we do that by purchasing certain feed items that will help us fill those gaps. What a lot of people are not aware of is just how many of those purchased feed items are byproducts or waste products from the human food industry. So when we process human foods, there inevitably are leftovers from those processes. And those are not necessarily, there's nothing wrong with those, it's just we can't eat them and it's left over. And cows can make really good use of a lot of those byproducts. So along with eating local, cows are also big time upcyclers. They take byproducts from the human food industry, we include them in their rations, and they turn those byproducts back into food that humans can consume again. Meat and milk. So we're going to have a look today at some of those byproducts that we are currently feeding on our farm right now. And we're not a really big dairy farm. We're a below average, like smaller than average dairy farm. So just on our little farm, we're going to have a look at just a few of the byproducts that we're utilizing right now to keep our cows healthy and well fed. So in this bag, this is brewer's grain. It's what's left over of the grain when they make beer or other malt. So this comes out of either the breweries, the large breweries there's one in Toronto and one in London, I think Molson and Labatt's. So that's what's left after they make beer from the grain portion. And it gets delivered in a big transport truck, and they actually bag it for us because it's a wet product, so it just keeps better when it's sealed off a little bit. We have less waste and less loss on farm when we bag it, so we get it bagged. And this is in our milking cow ration, and I think there's a little bit in our dry cow ration as well. In this pile we have oat hulls. So oat hulls are what's left when they mill oats for things like oatmeal or for cereals. And the hull of the oats, which they can't use for those products, actually makes up about 25% of the total grain. So it's quite a bit. And they're a really good source of fiber. We can't digest them very well, but cows of course can. And this year we are using a good amount of oat hulls in our dry cow ration. Usually we use a lot of straw, which we grow here on farm. And this year we did have a lot of straw, but because of the wet summer, a lot of straw also got rained on. So it's not the quantity of straw, but rather the quality of straw. That's the issue this year for feeding. So we are using oat hulls to help extend our straw. And the cows really like them. They must taste good if you're a cow. So it also comes in a transport truck, and we push the pile up into the coverall here, and then we just put an extra tarp over top, again, just to minimize losses. Here we have, it's actually a blend of soybean meal and canola meal. The lighter portion is the soybean meal, the darker portion is the canola meal. Those are both the byproduct of pressing of those respective grains for oil used for the human food industry. And what we have left here is a really great source of protein, digestible protein for cows. We use it in all of our rations, our milk cow, our dry cow, and our heifer rations. The heifers get it in their TMR, but they also get top dressed a bit extra depending on the age because they're growing. They need a good amount of protein. It also comes in a truck and it's stored in the upright bin. That bin has the auger coming out of it. We just park the mixer underneath it and weigh out what we need each day. And then this is the stuff we run out for the heifers just to top dress the heifers. So the final piece of the puzzle will go to our skid steer here. So Mark uses the skid steer every morning when we're making feed to put feed in our mixer. So in here he's got, this is our ration from our nutritionist. So she takes the feed samples of all of our on-farm feeds and the byproduct feeds that we've purchased, and she formulates a ration that's balanced and sends us this, basically a recipe, which tells us by weight how much of each ingredient to add to our mix every day. And then we mix it all up really well, and that's how we feed our cows.